It is Electric Picnic 2014. I'm just telling you that just in case you hadn't figured that out at this stage. Now, usually before bands come in, you get a chance to kind of warm up to do squat thrusts or whatever, but I didn't, and the minutes arrived, so
Are you unprepared?
I'm screwed, aren't I?
Okay, yeah, I think so, maybe, yeah.
How are you guys anyway?
I think we're good, yeah.
Good.
We played a show last night, which was Friday night. Getting ready for Jerry Fish's stage tonight at 11. And then tomorrow night we're playing in the Rankin Wood stage.
At the same time as like all the headliners.
Yeah.
Which will be
You know?
interesting.
It's grand.
to say the
It's
least.
cool.
And how do you feel the headliners are going to feel when there's no one there watching them? They're
Well,
all out
that's just going to
watching
be
the
they're
minutes.
just going to have to deal with that themselves. I can't coach them through.
People
that
are going to have to chop down trees. No, they're not going to chop down trees. They're going to have to meander their way through trees very carefully to get to the stage. Seriously though, 2 albums down, the second one is it's a bit of an animal, isn't it?
Yeah, strange animal. I think it's definitely different to the first Beast, but there's a bit of progression, I suppose, in the recording and the technique and maybe the actual overall sound. People said refined. We sound a bit more refined, so I don't know how that sits with us, but like refined got Cherry Bomb the single on the radio, so you're sort of got to give and take a little bit, but it seems to have worked so far. So
Now, you mentioned earlier on about you're recording some power ballads as well. How's that coming on?
Power ballads.
Yeah.
What conversation was that, Dan? We're getting a little bit more. We're expanding it a little bit more with the second record in terms of we're not just maybe sticking to like the fucking 4 to the floor, bam, bam, bam.
Yeah, because there's a little bit. There's actually a couple of tracks that have a kind of a, dare I say it, a slower pace about them on this
exactly.
as well.
It took us a long time because like when we were kind of putting ourselves out there and identifying ourselves as a band, it was always like, just like energy rock and sets. We used to do half-hour sets throughout Germany, Europe, and it was just bam, bam, bam. So the second one we kind of like we were always a bit wary of putting out like slower music, but then Mark's vocal on this album his singing is a lot more it's more like singing. Do you know what I mean? Less shouty, I guess. So like one of the songs that came about was Slow and Behold, which we just thought was a good tune. So you can't really discard anything when you're in the studio. It's like if it's good, if it works, it works.
I think people need a break though sometimes as well. So if you listen to the first album that we have, it starts with like an instrumental thing, goes 34 minutes, then it ends with an instrumental similar to the start, but like if you listen to it on loop, it'll just keep looping, it'll keep going on. So it's like a mind fuck. It'll just keep going on. Second record was like songs, and they're all sort of rocking, but like the slower ones sort of made us to pace the record a bit more, because I think we realised that in the first one it was a slap in the face, but you can't just do the exact same thing the second time around, so that's why there's a
Use
bit
the
more.
other hand, in fairness.
Well, you could, yeah.
We're going to use bow hands on the next one.
Yeah, next one's going to be
It's
awful.
all
People
about,
are going to be in bits.
it's all about the next, and that one's done. That's
Maybe a
that's
foot
in the past.
Yeah, we don't really like to really rest on
Yeah,
it, even
it's
though
like
it's
it's
out.
gone.
It's out a couple of months. We're still
all
already
ha-
making plans, for the third
Really,
one.
already?
Yeah, big time, yeah.
We
I think that's one of the things that we fell down a bit was because we left such a long, that the difficult second album, and it took time to kind of get our heads around it again. Whereas this one, we already kind of have our eyes on the prize, for the third one. So
Well, they do say you've got your whole artistic life, at least, to write your first album. Then
Exactly.
suddenly the second album kind of jumps upon you. It didn't sound like you struggled with it. Some bands, with their second album, you gone, yeah, well, you wouldn't say it to them. Or at least I wouldn't.
Well, I think with us, it's because of what we do, there's only 3 of us. All we got to do is write a good song, and then we'll figure out how to make it work, dynamically. So it's grand. So we can write songs, that's no problem. But it's like getting around it, and then making it bigger. That's what we try to do, and try to expand on it. But by the first record and the second record, you learn. We know what we're good at now. So the third record is probably going to be the most minutes record that has ever been. It's probably going to be full on fucking 500% minutes, just uncompromising, not bowing to anybody, not taking anybody's advice other than the 3 of us, because it's we've gone through everything with everybody. You've all had your opinions about everything. This is us. This is our fucking thing.
We've had the perspective of working ourselves. We basically funded that first record ourselves. did like a fundraiser gig, you know, to headed over with the cash in our actual back pockets
Down our
on the
jobs.
plane. Yeah,
$3,500
handed it over to the
each
guy in the
down our
studio
Mickey's.
and made it. So it was all
Hey,
very.
this money is warm.
Exactly.
Yes, Kevin, it is warm.
The second record was the big producer dude, and that was, you know, that was what it was. So I think now we've kind of had this perspective of both.
We carried the
worlds
money
where-
for the second record up our arse, though, all the way over to Canada, and brought that and handed it to him.
I mean, you were always pretty honest about yourself. I remember meeting you years ago, and not too long after you released your debut single, and I asked you about it, and you told me it was, and I quote you, you told me it was shite. I was like, oh, fair enough.
For the old minutes.
The old, yeah, this is
it
going
was
way
shite.
back, yeah.
That's we had to like, you know, rethink a lot of things. We were trying to be. I think it was around the time when like it was the whole Strokes thing, and everybody was trying to be one of those indie bands, and it was all about just like downstrum guitars, and you know it was really we found it really difficult to try and write those sort of songs because it wasn't natural to us, you know.
in that genre. Yeah, we
Yeah.
struggled in that kind of
So
pop indie thing, and we were, you know, basically all music. A lot of the music that was made around that time sounds exactly the same, and it's instantly forgettable. You know, those bands that were
And
around,
dated.
those like
Shite.
5-6 years ago, I don't give them the time of day now. You know,
rock
whereas
and
what
roll,
we've done,
you know, that's
like I know that I'm going to still be proud and listen to like Marcata in 10 years' time and still say that stands. You know, hopefully.
Well,
Hey, Will.
the debut single may have been shite, but Marcata certainly isn't. The Minutes, thank you very much.
Cheers,
Great to
man.
see you guys.
Nice.